Episode 1 of Tower of God. You Tower of God fans, you've done an unreal job at hyping this series up. I've always been recommended to start reading some webtoons, and I'd be lying if I said that Tower of God was not one of the ones at the top. In fact, people always say how there'll never be another big three. I was someone who would always say that. I would stick by the fact that the big three would never come around again. But as crazy as it sounds, I think we're looking at the new big three. I firmly believe that the Manwha, Tower of God, Solo Leveling and God of High School are this generation's version of the big three. The big three of Manwha. Because these are the three that you see everywhere and have definitely skyrocketed the popularity of the medium. Anyway, before we go jumping and creating any controversy about this big three, that big three, whatever big three, let's jump into the actual episode. Now, I've never touched webtoon ever, really, aside from like 4 or 5 chapters of God of High School. That's about it. I don't really think that counts though. And all I knew coming into this was that there was a tower and a god. In fact, I don't even know if there's a god. Regardless, the fact remains that this is the first ever episode anime adaptation of a webtoon ever, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's the first. This is literally history making. And I'll be honest, I didn't know how I was going to react. I'd seen a few clips here and there that people have posted online from trailers and screenshots and whatnot. But if I'm 100% honest, it was the art style that actually drew me in to decide to watch this. Because I think this art style with some sexy Sakuga animation and you guys have got a win from me. But thankfully I didn't just stay for the art because the story doesn't seem too bad either. Basically, here's a very quick little glance over of the premise of the story. We've got Bam and we've got Rachel. Rachel decides to take on the tower. Bam follows her to get her back and voila! That's where our story begins. It sounds simple, right? That's exactly why I like it. Sometimes it's nice to have a plot that's quite grounded. It's not so out there and unrealistic to the point when the viewer sort of loses interest in it. This is a goal that, although he does have to go through a supernatural tower filled with tons of different species to reach his goal, aside from that, it's a fairly relatable goal that I think most of the viewers can sort of come to understand. There's an immediate bond formed between Bam and Rachel that the viewer can get emotionally attached to straight off the bat, or at least I did straight away. I know if something happened to Rachel in the next couple of episodes or so, I know how Bam would react, and I'd probably react somewhat similarly despite only watching 1, 2, 3, whatever, how many episodes. So straight away, I think that's a massive positive. Onto the actual tower itself though, and I don't know what I should be expecting here, if I'm honest. Because so far we've only seen 2 floors, 2 stages of the tower. I think they're still in like the test stage right now. The picture that I've sort of built in my head is that each floor of the tower has a different unique aspect and challenge to it, something like that. Because the ones we saw in this episode, we had the first one where it was all about sort of facing the fear of the massive, gigantic creature and destroying this spherical orb-like object. And then you had the second floor, which was, I think, the test phase floor, where you had to be one of the final 200 remaining survivors in a battle royale of 400 people. 2 very different, very entertaining, very intriguing challenges. And I hope that each floor keeps up that unique aspect of a distinguished goal, landscape, you name it. I hope each one has its own little identity and little quirk about it. The number one thing I don't want is repetitiveness. I don't want a character to go up a floor and then it's just a dull, boring floor, and then so on and so forth, where they all start to feel the same. And rather than being a story about reaching the top of the tower, it feels like you've just been on one floor for episodes and episodes and episodes, whereas in the matter of fact you've been going up. That's the one thing that would turn me away from the series, is any form of repetitiveness like that, where the aspect of going up just disappears. But I trust in it, and I don't think that'll be the case. If that was the case, I can't imagine it have gotten this popular, so I should be fine there. Now on to some of my personal thoughts about the plot and the characters, etc. Obviously, don't spoil me in the comments. You accomplish literally nothing by doing so. Trust me. In fact, I may just ignore comments altogether on this video. That may be the sensible way of doing this. I don't know. But there was a few thoughts that I had while watching this episode which I knew I had to talk about in this video. First up is Rachel. Something feels off there and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that I maybe don't trust her. There's part of me that, although I was saying there's an emotional bond there which I feel attached to between Bam, that's purely because I know Bam feels that emotional attachment towards Rachel. Not necessarily me. I'm sort of I'm on the fence at the minute. I will see. I'll need to see more of Rachel, but right now there's a few little trust issues because it all seemed quite weird how she just miraculously disappeared off into the tower when, judging by Bam's relationship with her, I imagine they were quite close. So maybe she's purposely lured Bam into the tower for some reason. Obviously, all you actual readers of Tower of God are either going to be laughing at how inaccurate these theories are, or maybe you'll be in awe of my insane predictions. It's one of the two. Probably the first one, if anything, though. But basically, you know, Bam's our MC. He's our main guy. He's our dude. He's an irregular. Now, I know in the subs they call him non-regular, I think. I know fans have not liked that change. And honestly, I'm with you guys. If in the webtoon it's called irregular, why change it to non-regular when irregular rolls off the tongue so much better than non-regular? But anyway, he's supposedly an irregular. And I've seen countless series like this where our main character is supposedly some irregular underdog. And I'll be honest, 9 times out of 10, they're never really irregular. If anything, they're usually above average. Now, maybe Tower of God's going to be an exception and Bam is just going to stay an irregular person the entire way. But honestly, I can't see it. But if I had to theorize, I'd say that Rachel lures him into the tower for the exact reason because he is special, and hence how he was able to unlock the true power of that sword, which the princess gave to Bam to pass the first test. Who, by the way, that princess, okay, I'm declaring best girl right now. But I digress. Onto another character who I've also got very, very mixed feelings upon, and that's that weird looking caretaker dude whose name I can't quite remember. I want to say it's Haydon. I think it's like Haydon, something like that. The scene where he just calmly killed that creature after everyone left, I don't know, there was something quite eerie about that. It set my alarm bells ringing, I'll be honest. But overall, I'll be honest, okay, first episode of Tower of God, you've got me. You've won me over. You've hooked me in. I'm interested. I'm on board with all you webtoon fans, and honestly, if anything, even if I don't end up liking this and I drop it or whatever, I'm just glad that you webtoon fans have got what you deserve because, like I said, I've been bombarded over the past year or two just telling me to read this, read that, and I'll be honest, I didn't think it would ever reach to a point where you're getting anime adaptations, especially anime adaptations that look as beautiful as this, so fair play to you guys. I know you're going to be loving it, and fingers crossed, I'm going to be loving it just as much. And if the Tower of God content is something you want to see kept up on this channel, then just leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and also get in the comment section down below to let me know, because maybe we could keep the Tower of God episode discussions coming. I don't know, maybe you webtoon fans like laughing at my hilariously wrong predictions of the story. But I'll be seeing you guys in another video very, very soon. Until then, peace.